Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Techno Talks here. So in today's video, I'm going to be comparing the iPhone 13 Pro, which is this year's Apple flagship phone, and last year's Apple flagship phone, which is going to be the iPhone 12 Pro on the left. And so I'm going to be talking about some key features about these devices, and I will also be comparing those key features and also the upgrades that have been made to these devices. And in the end, the main question I want to actually answer for y'all is going to be, should you upgrade from the iPhone 12 Pro to the iPhone 13 Pro, and is it really worth it? So let's go ahead and begin with some design changes. So first up, we have a bigger battery. As you can see, you can already tell when I put these two side to side, you can see that the camera on the iPhone 13 Pro is significantly larger than the iPhone 12 Pro. So that is one key upgrade. We've gotten a camera upgrade. The megapixel count is going to be the same. It's still 12 megapixels. However, we have a wider aperture camera, which can actually take in a lot more light. So during nighttime shots, you'll actually get better quality pictures and images, which is really nice to know. So if you're someone that actually really cares about the camera upgrades that are being made to devices, then you could go ahead and upgrade to this if that's one thing that actually concerns you and you take a lot of pictures and you take them seriously. So if camera is your main thing, then definitely every year you get a better camera generally, and so that would be a reason to upgrade to this device. However, if you're just a general user, a day-to-day user of a device, then let me go ahead and talk about the features that have actually been upgraded and if they're actually worth the upgrade of devices. So let's go ahead and begin. We talked about the camera. The camera is better on the 13 Pro and it's a lot larger. But personally, I actually do really like the design of the 12 Pro. It's just a lot smaller and it's not as thick as the 13 Pro. So here is the 13 Pro. Right, as you can see, you can definitely tell that this thing has a camera on it. And the 12 Pro right here, so the 12 Pro has a very minimal bump on the back, which is nice. And this device will actually rock less than the 12 Pro. As you can see, the 12 Pro rocks less than the 13 Pro, which is something to keep in mind if you don't use a case with your device and if you keep it on a table. So some other key upgrades are going to be on the display. So the display of the 13 Pro has actually been upgraded to 100 Hz adaptive display, which is really nice because with 120 Hz, I know a lot of people that use Android devices, me included, I really wanted a 120 Hz display on the 12 Pro. However, they didn't give it and they actually got it on the 13 Pro. Some people that really doesn't matter, and for some it actually does matter, and these upgrades to the display are actually pretty reasonable and they're actually really nice that we actually got them this year. So 120 Hz, if you use them side by side, you can definitely tell that one is a lot smoother. And since Apple's software is already a smooth software when compared to other Android devices with 120 Hz, Apple still manages to keep up with their iPhones because they just have such smooth software implementations when opening apps, when closing apps, when swiping, when scrolling and everything. So it still makes the device look really smooth. Plus with the 120 Hz this year, it just looks even more smoother and it just looks really nice overall, and it shows that it's a flagship device. We also got another upgrade, and that's going to be the smaller notch. So let me go ahead and open up a white background for you guys so you can actually see it better. And it's not necessarily a white background, but here you go, and you can already tell that we have a smaller notch on the 13 Pro. So the main thing they actually did with this is they brought up the speaker grill to the top portion of the frame right there. It's on the very top. They actually brought it up to the frame when compared to this last year's, which they actually had the speaker grill right here in the notch. So when they took the notch out of the when they took the speaker grill out of the notch, they were able to make it smaller than normal. It is a tad bit taller than what we usually get, but you definitely won't be noticing that a lot. So those are one of the biggest upgrades that we've had, and we also got a pretty nice battery upgrade. So it was around a 500 to 600 milliamp hour upgrade. We get a way larger battery on this phone, and since Apple actually decreased their battery life compared to the 11 Pros when they made the upgrade to the 12 Pros, it was actually a lot worse, and wasn't too bad. I could still almost get a day. I would get like 5 to 6 hours of screen on time with my usage. However, with the 13 Pro, I can confidently use it a whole day without having to carry a charger around with me. I usually end the day at around 10 to 15%, sometimes even 20%. And if you don't want to use the 120 hertz, you can go and use the 60 hertz, which is also still an adaptive display. So even on a 60 hertz cap, it will still bring it down all the way to 10 hertz on the apps that don't use the 60 hertz. So when you're actually scrolling, if it's at 30 hertz, then it'll keep it at 30 hertz, which is really nice, so that you would save a lot more battery life than that. So great key upgrades to the 13 Pro. But as I said, these won't be things that should get you to upgrade to the 13 Pro. These aren't really too big of an upgrade for the daily user of a device. So unless you're looking for something specific that wanted you to upgrade, as I said, like the camera or maybe the display, then go ahead, this would be a great upgrade. However, for the daily user, if you're not looking for any of those, and if you just want to continue using your phone the normal way you do, and those upgrades don't really mean anything to you, and those are usually something that you won't notice. If I gave my dad a phone, he really doesn't care. Right now he's using the S10 Plus, and when I gave him the S21, it really didn't affect him in any way. So he didn't really notice all the upgrades made to the device, even though since I actually research about it, I usually notice it. However, the daily user, they usually don't look into that stuff a lot. They don't usually look into that stuff as much as maybe a tech enthusiast, which is pretty normal, and that's why I'm saying it shouldn't be a reason to actually upgrade to the 13 Pro. It's not really worth it. You don't get too many upgrades when compared to the 12 Pro, and the 12 Pro is still a great device even in 2021. It's been a year, and this is still a really nice phone which can beat out a lot of Android devices in speed tests and everything else. But daily use case, it won't really change things up for a lot of people. So personally, I did find the upgrade necessary, as the battery life was a lot better, and I do use my phone a lot. Plus the camera upgrades were really nice to know, especially with the new features with the camera. You get all these different types of shooting modes, and then you also get the cinematic mode, which was upgraded to this. It's honestly something that I was really looking forward to. Plus the 120 hertz display, since I've been using my S21 with that, it's just a great upgrade for me. But for the people that aren't looking for those stuff, then you shouldn't really need to upgrade. Personally, I would actually still use the 12 Pro for around 3 years, and I'd still be fine with it. It'd still be a really smooth phone, and it would actually last you a long time. So that would be my final answer for this comparison right here. So we do get really nice upgrades. As I said, I'm not trying to diss the iPhone 13 Pro. However, for the daily user, those really won't matter too much, since the 12 Pro already did everything really well and was just a great phone overall. The 13 Pro is just a better phone, but you still have a phone that can do everything really well. And when comparing it to the 13 Pro, you don't see many upgrades. You don't see many upgrades for the daily user. So that will basically be wrapping it up for my video. As I said, if there are some key features that really interest you on the 13 Pro, then go ahead, you won't be disappointed. It's still a great device, and with the extra features like the 120 hertz, the better camera, better battery life, you will actually be really fine with the phone. And plus the 815 Bionic chipset with this device, it's going to be a really nice experience with the iPhone 13 Pro. But for anyone else that aren't really looking for something they actually wanted to be upgraded, if you're just a daily user of a device, the 12 Pro is still a great device in 2021, and I would still recommend it to people that are actually still trying to look for iPhones. It's honestly a little cheaper. It's still a really great phone, and you won't be disappointed with your purchase. So that is basically my answer to that question. Should you upgrade? For the daily user, no, you really don't need to upgrade. And for anyone that have been looking for key features, then yeah, you can go ahead and upgrade, but it's not too big of an upgrade when compared to maybe other generations of iPhones. So that will basically wrap it up for this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, because it really helps support the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.